Hi, I'm Kelly Williams, your local realtor from Keller Williams Select. And here today, we're with another episode of Who's Who in the 902. Today, we're with Bruce Lusby from Premier Mortgages. Welcome, Bruce.
Good morning. Nice to be here, Kelly. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm very excited for people to learn all about Bruce and how you can help them. So, first thing off, Bruce, please tell everybody a bit about you.
Sure. Well, I'm a Haligonian. I've lived in Halifax all my life. I have a son who's 20, a daughter who's 17. I love to mountain bike. I love to be in the woods and on the trails. I hike my dog lots. But I love being a mortgage broker, and I love helping people through the mortgage financing process to make it easy and as simple and stress-free for them as possible. And yeah, that's me.
That's great. How long have you been in the business?
I've been a mortgage broker for 13 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lots of changes over the years, hasn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. The rates have gone from very low to considerably high, coming back down again. Housing prices have gone up considerably over the years. Um, there's been lots of great changes to government legislation to make it easier and more affordable for clients to get into a house. So yeah, lots of changes.
Can you what is the first question that you're typically asked when somebody meets Bruce and you say, "Hi, I'm Bruce, and I'm a mortgage agent." What do they
Yeah,
typically say?
it's funny. The first thing people, it's not always, but quite often, first people ask is, "Oh, what are the best interest rates, or where are interest rates going?" That quite often, if someone hears I'm a mortgage broker, that's what their first question is. Um, but yeah, and people are always kind of interested in where interest rates are, where the best rates are, where they're going. Um, that's not necessarily what the most important thing is, though. I mean, the lowest interest rate isn't necessarily the best mortgage, and there's penalties to consider and prepayment privileges and lots of different options. So you need to kind of compare apples to apples, and the best rate isn't necessarily always the best mortgage or the right fit for that client. There's more
Well,
to
that's
it.
good to know. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's good to know because a lot of people don't understand that. They just want to go at the lowest rate, and then they find out later it really wasn't um, necessarily the best thing for them.
That's right.
So,
Yeah, penalty calculations are very important, and most people wouldn't understand that. 65%, I believe, 60 or 65% of mortgages don't go to completion. So, when you get in, most people get into their mortgage, they think, oh, well, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. 5 years is the most common, but they don't necessarily think about the penalties. So it's important that I have that discussion with clients because even though one mortgage lender might have a lower rate, the penalty
yeah.
calculation may be quite a bit higher. And so if they do break their mortgage contract before the term, which is quite common, um, they could have a substantial penalty. And that savings they thought they were going to enjoy from the lower rate, the higher penalty is going to eat away at any savings they had.
Right. So if someone's interested in buying a home, what's the first thing you would tell them to do?
Get pre-approved.
Get pre.
So, I mean, yeah, ultimately, when the first thing someone should do when they're buying a home is to get pre-approved, but ultimately it's to kind of look internally and say, okay, is my credit score good enough to qualify for a home? Do I have acceptable income to buy a home? Do I have savings for a down payment or access to savings to cover my down payment and my closing costs? So those are
Right.
things kind of that a client needs to think about. But when I meet with a client to get them pre-approved, those are things we're going to clear up. So ultimately, the client just needs to get pre-approved, and I can go through that process, get the client pre-approved, and confirm what if they're going to be shopping in the right price point, in the right price range, but also that they can just qualify, that their credit is satisfactory, that they have savings for down payment, closing costs, or access to savings, um,
Right.
and is their income acceptable? So all these kind of hurdles we need to get over to be able to pre-approve a client and make sure that they're in a good position to go and house shopping and offer on a house.
Well, that's the first thing I always say to my buyers is, have you been pre-approved? And I always say, you don't want to be shopping and falling in love with something you can't afford to buy, because
Absolutely.
then it's much harder to go out looking, because you've got your heart set on that other house that you fell in love with, that isn't in your price point when you really thought it was. So yeah,
Yeah.
being
Yeah, it's so
pre-approved
important.
is, yeah,
Yeah, it's
exactly.
important on many different levels too, Kelly. Like, it's about managing expectations and respecting people's time. So if someone doesn't take the time to get pre-approved, they're not
Right.
respecting your time as a realtor to go house shopping and traipsing around all of HRM looking at homes, and only to put an offer in and to write the offer and put that time and effort into that and negotiating, only to, when you get to the financing stage, go, oh, well, I suppose we should look into our financing and make sure we can afford this, to then at that stage realize that, wow, we're out of our price range here and we can't afford this home. But
That's
you've
right.
wasted the time of the seller, the buyer, or the realtor, and the seller, and the financing person, whichever bank they went to, or mortgage broker. So it's important to manage expectations and to respect people's time.
How can people get in touch with you, Bruce?
Um, Emails, great. Cell phones, great. Facebook, LinkedIn. But
Okay,
you
so
can just,
what's your email?
my email address is bruce.lusby@premiermortgage.ca. And so there's a dot between Bruce and Lusby, and there's an E at the end of Premier. It's the French Premier mortgage.ca.
Okay, phone number?
902 210
Mm-hmm.
0515.
Excellent. Now, what are you on Facebook?
I have a business account on Facebook and a personal account on Facebook, so I'm there. And
Under Bruce Lusby?
Yep, I think my
Okay.
my business one is maybe Bruce Lusby Mortgage Broker,
Okay.
and then Bruce Lusby is just I'm there as a personal account as well.
Okay. And Instagram?
I don't really use Instagram. I may have an
Okay.
account, but I'm not active on it, and I
Okay.
am on
How about,
LinkedIn.
and LinkedIn? How do they find you there?
They could just Google search Bruce Lusby Mortgage Broker Halifax, and you'll see my LinkedIn profile.
Okay, perfect. Well,
Yeah,
thanks so much for your time today, Bruce. It was great to learn all about you and your business.
you're very welcome. Yeah, nice to chat with you, Kelly, and appreciate you giving me the time.
If you know of anyone who should be interviewed, please have them contact me. We are trying the goal behind these interviews is to get you to meet people in our community, such as Bruce, and to encourage people to shop local, to stay up to date with the community news and activities, and to meet the wonderful people like Bruce. So if you have any real estate questions, just please reach out and I'd be happy to answer those. So thanks again, Bruce. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Thank you, Kelly.